Welcome back to my channel where I tell you what I would do differently if I were the creator of TV shows and movies. And today we are taking a look at Code 8. The movie begins when we learn that 4% of the population had been gifted powers. They are known as mutants. We meet Connor as he's trying to get a job to look after his sick mother. He's a freelancer because he is a mutant. He heads to see if this guy got work, but because he was late, only by an hour, he had to settle for half a day's pay. Several officers shows up to where he is working because someone was using powers without a permit. So they have all of the mutants look up at a drone, but they see that one is not complying. They try to detain him. The mutant uses his powers on one of the officers, and then he tries to run down the street. The drone releases the robots that kill him. Across town, several officers rush inside the building to deal with a mutant and detain them. The mutant attacks one of the robots and Officer Park detains them. They discover a door and they find out that he was involved with creating a drug called Psych. We then see the media cover of the situation before we cut to Connor's mom as she accidentally dropped a jar and the owner is yelling at her, and that makes Connor very upset. Connor intimidates the manager and then he tells them both to leave. And on the way home, they have an argument. The next day, Connor is waiting with his friend for labor work when a car pulls up, and that's when we meet Garrett. The scene will play out pretty much the same with Garrick asking for a electric meta and Connor will walk over asking for 200 upfront and Garrick will agree. Connor would get in where he meets a mute named Freddy. Everything would play out the same as Connor stops the fence. But in my version, there'll be like an electric wave that goes around them, barely missing the other crew. Everything would be the same as they came for what they get here, encountered the guard, and then they would tear off the red on their van and make it back to its normal color. The drone that is looking for him decides that's not the right van, and they arrive at Marcus Club. Marcus would explain to Garrick that they can't get paid right now because that they have to pay someone a lot higher up and a very dangerous person. Garrick is frustrated at this. Marcus will suggest to robbing a bank so they can have enough money to pay off these dangerous people. Garrett takes Connor home and says if he needs a job, then to meet him tomorrow. He then gives Connor a bonus of 300. The scene with his mom would be exactly the same. The next day, the officers show up on the crime scene and they know this has to be related to Marcus's gang. Connor would get picked up by Garrick and the rest of the crew, and he would explain the mission that they have to do right there. And I'm changing it up so they don't go to the diner and they get dropped off at a corner of the street where we have the same scene where Connor has to stop the car's like alarm. They drive to their base And this is when we will get the exact same training sequence. Everything would happen the same. We would see the officers looking at Connor, trying to figure out if he's involved. And then we would get the same scene with them scouting out the bank and Connor making note of everything he saw before telling all of them. And then we see them start the robbery as they use their powers to subdue everyone to make sure that they don't try to run. They discover that the vault is nearly empty, and they discover that it's cleared out on the weekends. We get the same scene where they're almost caught, but Connor destroys the drone. They then go back to Marcus and deliver what they had. It will play out mainly the same as in the actual film. The girl will try to kill him, but the only difference is that when Connor shocks her, the gun will go off, hitting Gareth in the shoulder, but the rest would play out the same. He would still get healed from the healer, and he would have the same conversation with his mom, but this time he'll be more adamant that he has no other choice. His mom will still collapse, and he will take her to the hospital. Everything will happen the same, where he talks to the doctor. They will say that they need to perform a surgery. Then he will get taken in by the police for questioning, but he gets let go for a lack of evidence. They drive to Marcus' club. Marcus reads Connor's mind and see he didn't say anything. And then they hatch a plan to get the money by selling the drug. But Gareth said they'll only do it if it's a 50-50 percentage. Marcus would agree. Everything up to when Marcus betrays them will be the same. But while my change there'll be more people with Marcus. Freddy would still get shot and dies. They have the same argument that was in the original. Officer Park would get a message from Connor, and he would explain everything, and says after it's done, he will turn himself in. Everything will play out the same as they get ready to break into Marcus's club. The scene in the hospital will play out exactly the same, where she starts to heal him, but then he will stop her because she would die if not. And then everything else in the movie will play out exactly the same. Connor would apologize and everything like that. And at the end, she would meet her dad in prison. But I will see you all in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this rewrite. And if you want me to continue this, let me know in the comments below, or tell me what else you would want to see me do a video on. But I'll see you all in the next one.